Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. I'm James. I'm an American soldier in the Ukrainian army, and I live here in Ukraine. And technically, that is true right now. So today we've got a lot of things to talk about. This might be my last transmission for some time. So I'm going to try to make it quick. It's funny, I've been out of the military for almost a month now, and I thought I was going to have like at least a couple of weeks in the middle of this time as like a day off. I need to apologize to everyone in my community. I'm so behind on messages on every platform. I've been from Sumy to Krakow to Zaporizhia, and multiple times and points in between in the last 3 weeks. So welcome everyone, and I'd like to just get right into it today, because we have so much has happened in 3 weeks. Like it's literally crazy, and we'll talk about the protests. We'll talk about this MOOC. I mean, it's just, but I think the things I want to talk about first, to all of you, is what's happening in Ukraine. And as you may know about the F-16 situation, with F-16 combined with the Swedish, what is it, A-50, I believe, the AWACS, shooting down an S-35. It's great news. But what I particularly like is this very nice report. Norway planned to deliver twice as many F-16s to Ukraine as previously announced. This is what I want to hear from every country. Most of the time it's, they're only able to deliver half or 25%. By the way, thank you so much, Johnny. You don't know how much I appreciate that right now. Let's just contrast this. Now that I'm thinking about it, contrast this with U.S. diverts Ukraine. What was it? Defense Ukraine to Israel. 20,000 anti-drone missiles meant for Ukraine went to Israel. Why? Well, okay, so it seems it's obvious, right? And I remarked about this earlier today. Pete Hegseth was in an interview, and he was in an interview with Congress, and he was asked, what can we do to help Ukraine win? Here we go. And Hegseth said, we would need to clarify what win means. This president is committed to peace. So peace does not include anything beneficial for Ukraine, in point of fact. Peace just means, stop the fighting. You guys know. I don't need to talk about it. I meant to talk about Ukraine's amazing victories and technologies. Okay, because I wouldn't be here fighting if I didn't believe that not only can Ukraine win. Wow, thank you, Robert. It means a lot. Hey, Paul, thanks for coming. I'm just getting started here. I wouldn't be here fighting if not only did I think that Ukraine can win this war against its ostensibly larger neighbor, but that winning this war here in Ukraine and defeating Russia, defeating Putin, will also save American democracy. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what that means. So I want to talk about the really amazing and incredible things that that Ukraine is doing, creating. I don't know. I think I'll start here. So this is from a couple days ago. Ukrainian Azov Brigade's mobile units combined the AR-15 rifles and FPV drones to eliminate Russian UAVs near Toretsk. So this is pretty interesting. You know, mobile fire teams take down Russian drones with precision rifles and their own kamikaze UAVs. This points to combined arms warfare. You know, and it says among their tools are modified AR-15 rifles. So they're Ukrainian-made AR-15s. Okay, UAR-15s they're called, and that's pretty interesting. Because I can tell you, I've tried to shoot down a drone with a automatic shotgun, and this was just in training, and it was really freaking difficult. Now, one of my commanders did actually shoot down an enemy drone that was coming right for them with just a regular AK-74, just which that's a hell of a deal. No special bullets or anything like that. So it's I'm not going to show you the video for this, obviously, but the fact that this requires training is what I would say, and this is something that Azov is known for specializing in. Democracy is actually a crapshoot. Yeah, it's the worst form of government except for all the others, right? Yeah, JP Van Eyck, sorry, says I personally think U.S. is not going to give anything to Ukraine. Yeah, I think I had a debate about this with some fellow soldiers last week, and I think that Ukraine might get some things from the United States, but it's going to be under the table. It's going to see Ukraine is just as important to, and I've been saying this for a while, and many others, just as important to America's defense and Europe's defense as vice versa, because the information that Ukraine's ostensible allies are getting from this war, and the technological development that's happening, which is really the point of this first part of the discussion here, is the rapidity with which Ukraine is developing. I was mentioning this. I was just listening to Dylan Burns earlier this afternoon, and yeah, here. And this is a really great video with Dylan Burns. Veteran explains the Vet Broe podcast crisis. I very rarely have time to listen to an entire Dylan Burns, hour, 2 hour thing. This was really good because this guy's like a, kind of a right wing dude, the right wing Iraq veteran Vet Broe thing. And he was talking about, well, in 5 years, we went from driving Humvees to driving the MRAPs, and we, and I was thinking to myself, man, like the amount of innovation that he was talking about is taking place in almost the entirety of the first phase of the Iraq War. is that's happening every 5 months here in Ukraine. And one of the big ones that I think I want to talk about are the turrets. The turrets and the drone motherships. Let's see if I can find my tab where I saved that. So if you, I'm not talking about the way Donald Trump likes to talk about turrets. You know, he's always talking about the turrets in Ukraine. He means domes. He can't say the word domes apparently. So and I've seen some of these AI or just anti-drone air defense turrets that are in development. And where did I put the tab? Oh, well, okay. We're talking about motherships too. So these types of now this is apparently a Russian single drone mothership. So what you're doing here is you're extending the range of the drone. And this is a big thing. I think that very quickly, the emphasis with drones has all been on quadcopters, but I think that's going to change very quickly. I think that fixed wing drones are going to become the majority. So it says here, like Ukraine builds low-cost sky fortress to detect Russian Shahed drones. So this is like a fixed wing drone system, but don't think of it as just a single drone. Think of it as I think this is the one. Think of it as integrated. So multiple drone systems, ground-based communication systems, all of these sort of integrated with each other. Okay. And okay. I can't show you the actual video that I made of these turrets because that's obviously not so I have to use the public oh my gosh, James. Get yourself organized. I swear. Maybe I closed it. All right, let's just Google it. Ukraine AI turret. Yeah, there's a ton of them. And we can take a look. And this is where things are going, okay? So it's, very simple. The thing is the technology for this, guys, like 4 years ago, some like 12-year-old kid in Australia built like a Lego Nerf version of this and programmed it. And so the technology for this has been around for a long time. I think the issue is cost and building them at scale. Okay, and very recently I visited a laboratory where they're building these as well as other ground-based, UGV drone systems. And the optics, of course, the 12-year-old Australian system was very close range, and these have to detect drones at a distance of kilometers, so that adds a lot of cost to it. But these things are just basically this issue with the Shaheeds. All right, and it's very interesting. I've been to Kiev like 3 times now in the past 3 weeks, I think, and every single time I go to Kiev, and then the very next night there's this massive drone attack. I swear to God that the Russian kill chain, they just can't keep up with me, I guess. I'm sorry, that's dark humor, but so But this is not just going to be employed for drone defense. Okay, they're very quickly, and what I notice about these pictures is that they're all just showing the top of this Sentinel system, and it seems to show different bases. It's pretty interesting that they don't show the UGV portion, the unmanned ground vehicle portion of it. So I think that it's very interesting that they're talking about how Russia's producing 500 of these Shaheds a day. Let's see. I think BBC just had record number of drone attack signals, dangerous shift in the war. And it's crazy town for sure, but I think this is very temporary. It's a constant cat and mouse game, right? And I think that very soon we're going to see turrets like this one, also with unmanned systems like civil defense drone interceptor teams, situated around every major city in Ukraine. I think that's the way this is going to go. And they may not even be part of the military per se. They might be, part of the local police force or, a separate civilian defense force. And I've read articles about those sorts of things, potentially emerging programs for that. So I really think that's where things are going to go here. But at the same time, every time, we're coming up with a solution for that, and then Russia and the Chinese, remember, right? So we can talk more, and I can answer maybe some of your questions about tech and technology, what's going on there. I think one real important thing that is actually on the US side is this. I hate to show a picture of this. Is an Israeli system. It's called Smash, the Smash 2000. So it's basically an optical aiming system that fires your gun for you. So the Smash 2000L, made by Reserve, and I've talked about this before, Smart Shooter Ltd. Okay. You lock on to the target that you want to shoot, and then when your gun is aligned properly, the gun shoots for you. Okay. So combine that. Now, I know that these cost about $30,000 per gun, essentially, but that's because they're brand new. And the other thing is, second of all, I guarantee you, somebody in Ukraine is going to develop this very quickly. Very quickly. And it's going to be combined with the Sky Sentinel system. That's going to happen within a year. I was talking with a recruiter not a recruiter, I guess a recruiter. I've spoken to a number of military units over the past couple of months. Anyway, they were saying, well, we usually mostly take, what did he say? He didn't say stormtroopers, but assaulters. We usually only take assaulters. Why would we want some tech guy? And I thought to myself, man, these things, okay, are pretty soon, they're not just going to be protecting the sky. They already have been, to a limited extent, taking out Russians doing assaults, but in limited numbers. And they've been so massively effective. Okay. It's very easy to recognize a human form under multiple disguises. Computers do it. Security systems have been really good at doing it for 20 years. So I was thinking to myself, man, so your unit you only take assaulters. Okay. That's very 2023 of you. It was, but it's okay. Recruiters aren't necessarily the smartest always, you know. Some of them are. So yeah, so I want to attend to my chat here. Thank you all for coming. And Frag says, from the guys you got the net gun from, I saw some videos where they're trying to make targeting software. Listen, everybody and their uncle here is making targeting software. Holy crap. I mean, literally every single time I talk to some drone company or tech company, they tell me, oh yeah, and we're also making this AI targeting software. Absolutely. Everybody is doing it. It's so very common. So I'll start from the bottom. I apologize. I just want to welcome everyone. Keith, Linda, Belle, Cheryl, Anna, and a lot of you guys have messaged me. I'm so sorry. I have Discord and Signal and WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and Telegram. Yeah, I have like a huge backup of private messages on all of them, and I swear to God that literally I'm looking forward to joining my new unit, and I went and signed the contract this week. And I can't tell you, I don't have permission yet to say what the name of the unit is yet. Maybe next week I'll have some of you know. Don't say if you know already, because it would be bad. I've been expressly told don't say what unit you're joining until you get approval from command and you actually go there. And so, yeah, it's exciting. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, Mitch, yeah, Johnny from earlier, Paul, so many cool KKs, GG, Shere Khan, you're not late at all. And JP Van Eyck, they exist. Yeah, like I said, I thought I was going to have time to go home and rest. If you saw my recent live stream with Rick the Ukrainian, if you saw my recent live stream with Rick the Ukrainian, I did kind of explain why I left my previous unit, but there's something to add to that. And I mean, I don't know how that came across. I hope it didn't come across as me just bitching and whining, because it was not intended to be negative. It was kind of telling a story of my personal journey of how I did have some very negative feelings that I didn't speak about while I was in the unit publicly, obviously. But those were resolved. And in other words, hello, Paul Gilbert. Thanks for coming. So, what I wanted to say in that discussion with Rick the Ukrainian, and I invite you to go back and look, because I talk about it right at the beginning of my live stream. It's a coffee shop live stream with Rick the Ukrainian. At the end of it, I just realized, hey, everybody's just trying to do the best they can, and they make mistakes. What I didn't see any evidence of was malfeasance, people deliberately acting against the interests of Ukraine or the interests of the unit. Even the one guy who was in my unit, who was actually a traitor, got caught crossing the border, and I had the misfortune of having lunch with him, where he told me all about how Russia should win and Ukraine should be reduced to like this tiny rump state, all this other crap. even he, on a daily basis, was doing really great work to help Ukraine. This is pretty wild. And I was like, dude, I'm glad you're not on my team. I would take you out to the front line and just leave you there and let the freaking Russians get you or something. But the real reason that I decided to leave my unit, well, no, there's two real reasons. First of all, I didn't know that I was breaking my contract. I only found out yesterday. So everything on my paperwork that I saw in my translation and everything said 6 months, right? But somehow, when I read the contract and everything, I only found out yesterday. Wait, what day is it today? The day before. I only found out the day before yesterday that no, you can break your contract after 6 months, but it's normally a 3-year contract for foreigners. But you're not allowed to break your contract before 6 months. I'm actually going to go back and apologize. I mean, I've already signed a contract with the unit, but I'm going to go back and apologize to my old commanders because, like, I didn't know I was breaking a contract. I just thought the contract was over. Sorry. So that's one reason. The second reason is that I told this is exactly what I said. I'm not going to say the unit that I'm joining, but I feel that I will be able to be more effective doing what I do in this other larger unit. Yeah, Paul says, always read the small print. Well, I mean, I guess the small print worked out to my advantage in a way, sort of, but yeah, something got lost in translation, Cheryl. You're right. I probably would have rethought things. Maybe I would have stayed. Because as I said, when I was on Rick the Ukrainian, this is a brand new battalion. Now, you guys may remember, first I joined Angry Birds or Sleep Tahi, and then that got amalgamated by the larger battalion, Scythian Griffins. And that led to a lot of acrimony within and mistrust within and it was just very different culture. So I came into one unit that had this very family feeling, democratic decision making, amazing in an army unit, to one that was very much chaotic. Well, they were both a little bit chaotic, but negative and mistrustful. And part of that was just because you're setting up a new battalion with a bunch of people who don't know each other versus a bunch of people who got together and had, a lot of common experience and built the unit organically. Right. So, but that leads to the second problem. The real reason why I left the unit, it's because they didn't have anything for me to do for literally like 90% of the time. And I know that, I tried to put a good face on it. And this is true for both units that I joined in and that I started with. First unit I came to, like day one, basically, sat down with the company commander, and he's like, "Thank you so much for joining." And I've told you guys this story before. I've told it many times, and and he's like, "Thank you so much for serving and helping our country. We don't know what to do with you. What would you like to do?" And that happened twice. Okay, twice with each unit. Okay, and even after I said it, it just took a long time for them to give me something to do. I was going around. Oh, hey, Ronnie, grunge thing. I was going around, like, dude, can I just I'll sweep your floor. Can I sweep your floor? I'll go and I'll pick up trash or something, And I know that, I did end up doing a lot. I did cool stuff ultimately. But I don't feel that I was used as effectively as I could have been. And I think part of the reason, I'm not sure about the reason entirely. I think part of the reason is just, new unit disorganization. But also there's this, like, oh my gosh, he's a foreigner. What do we do with a foreigner? He doesn't speak Ukrainian or Russian. How do we deal with it? And it's like, no, I may not speak it, but I understand most of what people are saying most of the time. Oh, Alex is from my Bootney. So Alex is probably one of my students. Says hi from my Bootney, James. My Bootney, if you don't know, is Ukrainian for future. So he's actually saying hi from the future, James. But my Bootney is the school, the Ukrainian Democratic school that I used to teach at. So that's what's up. And hello, Hugh. Thank you for coming. So I just got so sick and tired of sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting for some of you might have been in the US military, and that there's a lot of bureaucracy. Well, just imagine that times the Soviet Union, because the Ukrainian military, basically, they just took all the everything, not just the weapons from the Soviet Union, but also most of the traditions and paperwork and the forms. Even the forms are exactly the same. They've just translated most of them into Ukrainian directly, and it's insane. It's ridiculous. There's absolutely a lot of the reform that needs to take place in the Ukrainian military. A lot of it is to do with training, but just needing training. But a lot of it is unnecessary paperwork. That you can imagine, just like in the American military, a lot of this crazy paperwork that has built up over 70, 80 years of the Cold War, of needing to give bureaucrats jobs to do, essentially. And now we have this $1 trillion Defense Department of people, signing everything in triplicate. And that's exactly the way at the beginning of the war. And a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, and even the guys who are the commanders themselves, they're all complaining about this. Like, at the beginning of the war, we could just do it. When you needed to do something, we just did the thing. And now they're like, oh my God, we're like 6 months behind on paperwork. It's insane. So yeah, that's the why I left, and what I'm doing with my life now. Oh, Alex says, oh, wow, cool. Okay, Alex, thank you for talking in here. Alex says, I've been to your courses on the camp. So guys, some of you might remember that I did a couple of drone camps for teenagers, and maybe we can look at that. Do a search here. Yeah. So I've done several of these, drone camps for teenagers, and I did two at my Bootney. And so he says, I've been to your courses on the camp, and after that, I've been learning in my Bootney for 2+ years. We've been doing a great job at helping the country. A lot of money was raised on public events. And I personally have been making parts using a 3D printer for the last 6 months. That's amazing, Alex. That's freaking awesome. I probably have 500 plus assists. 500 plus assist. Thank you, Alex. He says, you were a huge part of it. Thank you for that. Thank you for the help. Yeah. So before I joined the army, I set up within my Bootney school. Now, so just to give you a sense, this is the website for my Bootney school. And like I said, it's a democratic school. Okay, so the students vote on, they get to choose what classes, they get to choose their teachers, they vote on the all kinds of, basically they govern the school, essentially. And a lot of these kids here were my students, and so before I joined the Army last year, I started a drone class at the school. So dealing with learning drone soldering, and then they've moved on now to, I think, to like drone construction and drone flying drones and repair. And so I got them in touch with someone who worked with this group here, Social Drone UA. So this is like crowdsourced drone manufacturing here in Ukraine. And you can join this yourself, even, I believe, if you want to make drones or maybe parts of drones or help with that effort. Anyway, so I got in touch with some people in here, and now someone from this group took over my drone class at the school and is teaching students, stuff, soldering and basic electronics and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to get a cup of tea. Where is my tea? Aha. Yeah, so I don't know, guys. I wanted to talk about what's happening in America. Frag. Yeah, so Frag helped me purchase a drone net gun, which are becoming more and more common here in Ukraine now. And I think I can probably even find the let's see. Yeah, so this anyway, I wanted to let you know, Frag, that your drone net gun right now is on its way to one of, here's a picture. This is what it looks like. Is on its way to another viewer of this channel, whose name I won't mention here, but he does live in Ukraine. He's an American living in Ukraine as an engineer. And while I am in training with my new unit, I don't expect I'm going to be using this drone net gun, but I don't want to lose it because I will need it. So I gave it over to someone who does engineering here, who's going to use it for testing on their drones and for anti-drone systems in general. So that for the next month or two while I'm in training, it's still going to see some use, basically. I certainly hope that while I'm in training, I don't need one of these. But maybe it's close enough that if I need it, I can go get it within a day. So, and Alex from my Bootney says, honestly, the biggest thing we've done so far, apart from fundraising, is we created a new program of Zahist Ukraini, which translates to Defense of Ukraine. But we made drones here and there. Yeah, and this is a whole... We were co-founders of that new program. That's awesome, dude. This is a whole thing that civil defense courses are becoming more and more common, and the younger generation of students here in Ukraine. Wow, Alex, you're only 14. Alex is like, He says, "Yeah, for me, seeing other people helping warms my heart way more than what I do. Also, I'm only 14, so I can't really do shit now. Yet I can help unofficially, which is something." Yeah, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. All right, guys. I guess we need to talk about it. Yeah. So I just was reminded of this quote, right? Um, and this is from Thomas Jefferson, and he was referring to the Shays Rebellion, uh, the first insurrection in the United States. Um, and he said, "God forbid we should ever be 20 years without such a rebellion. The people cannot be all and always well informed. The part which is wrong will be discontented in proportion to the importance of the facts they misconceive. If they remain quiet under such misconceptions, it is a lethargy, the forerunner of death to the public liberty." Like Russia, you would say. Hello, Isa. Thank you for coming. So I just think, he says here, what country before ever existed a century and a half without a rebellion? And what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. And here's an important statement. The remedy is to set them right as to facts, pardon and pacify them. Well, we got one of those three has happened. So, unfortunately, the first insurrection in the last 200 years, I guess, they were pardoned, but they were never set right as to facts. JP Van Eyck says, "James, with all your brilliance, you can't make it yourself." What's that? You mean the revolution in America? The problem is, if there were a revolution in America right now, I'm afraid that it would not turn. It would. I mean, we are, and I don't even necessarily blame Trump per se. He's a symptom. Or this guy. Oh, I just can't stand to look at him. He literally he's going on these ICE raids, and he's supposed to be a psychologist. He's supposed to be helping people like feel better. Like, there's got to be some kind of It's not a Hippocratic oath anymore. It's a hypocritical oath, right? So, but see, I remember this during I was deeply involved with the Iraq War protests, starting in 2003, all the way up through about 2007. I went to so many goddamn protests and was helped with organizing them, faced down lines of cops shooting rubber bullets, pulled people out of, getting old ladies getting shot by rubber bullets, tear gas, and I mean, with 3 children. But America has been sliding down this slippery slope towards fascism since 9/11, since the Patriot Act. Okay. And we could we could go back further. We could talk about the media environment that created this, that began with the removal of the fairness doctrine. If you don't know what that is, we need a reinstatement of some kind of fairness doctrine in the media. Okay. I've talked about this before. This is desperately what we need. Fairness Doctrine of the United States, FCC, introduced in 1949, was a policy that required the holders of broadcast licenses to present controversial issues of public importance and to do so in a manner that fairly reflected differing viewpoints. In 1987, under Reagan, the FCC abolished the Fairness Doctrine. This is what allowed Fox News and all of the right-wing media, talk show, AM radio, Rush Limbaugh stuff to develop. And then the consolidation of media network. Learn to spell network. I'm a network engineer. I should know this. Consolidation. Right? Media network consolidation fairness doctrine. So they've gotten around this whole an AI overview is not available for this search. Great. They've gotten around this whole monopoly of the media. So it's media consolidation refers to the process by which fewer and larger entities come to own and control a larger share of the media landscape. And that is what has happened. Okay. And these corporate and mostly conservative right-wing interests, okay, have concentrated all of our mainstream media. This goes exactly right back to what Thomas Jefferson was saying. Okay, the people cannot be all and always well informed. Talking about the Shays Rebellion, he says, I say nothing of its motives. They were founded in ignorance, not wickedness. And that's how I feel about the January 6th rioters. That, or the freaking Pizzagate guy. They've been lied to, and they're angry about it. And the thing is they know that they were lied to about the Iraq War. Okay, that's the thing. But the problem is that now they don't know who to trust. They know they can't trust the Democrats because they're not part of that tribe. They can't trust somebody from outside their tribe. And I've been struggling with this, and Elvira Berry has kind of helped with this, right? Elvira Berry. If you guys haven't checked her out, she's a Russian living in America. Okay. And she talks about the thing that I just can't understand is Russians know they were lied to under the communist government. It's basically the same guys in the new government who are lying now. Why do they continue to trust these people? I struggle with it on the Republican side, right? So the way, and this goes to what Dylan Burns had to say, or not Dylan Burns, but the guy on his show today, which I posted about. If I can find it, which I talked about earlier. Yeah, this guy, Iraq syndrome, which is not talking about a pathology, but rather the psychological scars of having fought in a war that you now know was based on a lie. And so the right wing of America, they know they were lied to before. They're being lied to now. But they don't know it. Right? So what's going to happen when they find out? What's going to happen when they find out that this whole situation in Los Angeles was all a big freaking lie? And They're finding out that the tariffs are lies. They're finding out just lie upon lie. I mean, I can't even go into it, right? They're going to be angry. They're going to be angry. And this is where I want to make a connection to Maidan. And this is the subject of my video today, I think. Why I made that thumbnail like I did. What made Maidan unique here in Ukraine, the Maidan Revolution, was, for better or for worse, it was the whole society turning against the government and demanding change. Both left-wing and extreme right-wing. Now, much has been made of, these right-wing members of, supposedly neo-Nazi groups, and some were. But they were a small number. They were at the vanguard in situations like this, fighting against the police. Okay. Oh, here's my AI drone turret. Spent 20 minutes looking for that tab. Ridiculous. Terrible games. Oh, well. But, again, a very small percentage of the people. Isa says, American right-wingers are not used to being lied to, and the Russians are not used to being abused, which brings both in a weird situation. When the right wing of America realizes that once again, and Anna, you might be right. Anna says, I think most MAGA will go into denial about it. Okay. I think that, in Maidan, most of the actual violence came from these extreme right wingers. Ironically, the police that they were fighting against, the Berkut, were also extreme right wingers. They were just pro-Russian extreme right wingers versus, extreme Ukrainian nationalist right wingers. And they're the ones who were clashing it. And for a large, I don't want to say a large part, maybe the perception that I got from most Ukrainians here when I first came to Ukraine before the full-scale invasion. Remember, I've been here 5 years. Was that the war in Donbass? Remember, because at one time it was just confined to a small part of Donbass and Luhansk. The war in Donbass was actually a war just between these right-wing groups on both sides. The same kind of people just fighting each other, and that's the way a lot of Ukrainians thought about it, actually. But yeah, Mitch says, going by last night again, these protests are building, and perhaps there is some home for America rising to the occasion yet. Hope. Yes, hope for America. Look, okay, you've got how many months? How many months has it been now? 5 months. Yeah, 4.5 months. It's been 4.5 months. So you've got 20 months left. Less than that, because take off November, December. So do math in your head, James. 16 months, 17 months. Okay. I almost said Bush administration. The Heritage Foundation and the Trump administration plan to, I don't know, I'll just Google it, take over. I don't believe that they want to have free and fair elections in the next election cycle. Okay. So they want to consolidate. You know, they want to make a king. Okay, and the thing is I grew up in this environment. I believed this until I was about 13 years old. I believed that the United States should be a religious oligarchy, I guess, a theocracy. Okay, I thought that was, you know, what we were all working towards, what every Christian should believe. I listened to Focus on the Family and I listened to that whole right wing, this, you know, early 80s. It was much it was much more coy than today. But I believe all that. I totally understand what they're going for and what they're trying to build. And you guys, this is just one of many, 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 many protests that needs to take place and continue to take place. Like, think about the Maidan. I mean, first there was in 2004 those protests. You can think of those like, name your previous anti-Trump protests that we had here, you know. But these lasted for months and months and months, and people were out in the street all winter long in a cold ass winter in the middle of Ukraine, living in tents in the center square of the city for days and weeks and months at a time. And are Americans ready to do that? I don't know. I think that America is still very much in denial.
California's Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against the administration.
Go away. I think that we are still hoping. I really, honestly, I think that we're hoping that Gavin Newsome will save us. Yeah. Right? This guy? I don't believe that. The Democrats have time and again, okay, placated this. You know, you can see the fall towards fascism was, you know, Reagan, and then it's still falling towards fascism, but, you know, Clinton. I skipped over the first Bush, but, you know, whatever. And then Bush, fascism, and then Obama, and then Trump, and then Biden. But see, they're not repealing the laws that are put in place by the right-wing fascists in America. The Democrats allow those laws to continue. Gavin Newsome, in his stupid podcast, where he basically seeks to, or sought, I guess, to placate the right wing and interview all these right wingers and give them platforms. Like, why? You know? Look, here he is. He is interviewing Dr. Phil. Michael Savage, one of the worst, craziest, like worse than Rush Limbaugh right-wing media talk show people, you know, of the old school. Why is he platforming this? Okay. Now he's, you know, okay, great. He's coming out and saying, you know, oh, this is wrong, because he's taking political advantage of it. And I hope he becomes the next president, because I sure as hell don't want freaking JD ass Vance or Mike Johnson or any of those people. He'll be better than them, but he's not stopping the slide. He's not reversing the slide towards fascism, towards authoritarianism. Yeah, and Anna says, yep, Democrats have been I think you meant complicit for years now. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, Clinton was just a Republican in sheep's clothing in many respects. And I'm not saying everything he did was bad at all, or Obama for that matter. But government is a life form unto itself and naturally wants to grow. And it's incredibly ironic to me Sure, Khan says, yeah, no one wants less power. It's incredibly ironic to me that this apparent streak of libertarianism in the Republican Party, what does it lead us to, right? Oh, sorry, that's Ukraine. I got mixed up. It leads us to this. All right. Look, you guys, I don't know when I'm going to be able to have a live stream again because I'm going to be very, very busy, I expect. And I don't even know if they're going to, I hope I won't have to like delete my channel, but if they tell me, James, you can't do your channel anymore, or you have to take down certain videos, even this one, I'll do that for sure. If worst comes to worst, I won't delete my channel, but I might hand it off to someone, probably Ukrainian. And I've already started to make arrangements for that if that is necessary. Hand it off to someone at least temporarily. Because I don't want to accidentally give away OPSEC. Second, you guys know I have very strong opinions here. And what if I'm speaking these opinions as a member of the Ukrainian army, as an American member of the Ukrainian army, and then someone in the right-wing media, uses that against Ukraine in some way? I think that's a possibility. So, that's the last thing that I would want to do. And so if they look at my channel and say, yeah, James, I'm sorry, you gotta delete this and this, I'll do that. And Mitch made a really good point here. We are lost if we lose Ukraine. I'm looking for I've been posting so much lately. I hope you guys are okay with my lots of community posts, because I just don't have time always to make videos. But I want to read some things. If you haven't seen my posts, I'll just say these things here. The USA is approaching its Maidan moment. America was built on immigrants and by immigrants. Everyone in America is an immigrant, except for the Native Americans. All of my great whatever grandparents on both sides, except for one Cherokee back in the 1700s, was an immigrant. The first generation immigrants in America, I have noticed, work hard and value freedom more than the second, third, or fourth generations. The piece of shit sons and daughters of those previous immigrants then begrudge the Johnny-come-latelys because they've forgotten where they came from. And that includes Trump. But I've seen it in New Mexico where older generations of Mexicans from Mexico begrudge the new immigrants in New Mexico, and then the original New Mexicans begrudge the Mexicans who came from Mexico because they say, we didn't cross the border crossed us. It's common to all cycles of immigrant groups. And so these cyclical conflicts in America have occurred and will continue to occur until we democratize education. And that's for you, Alex. If you guys don't know what that means to democratize education, it means put the students in control of their own education. This is not a democracy right now. Don't argue with me about it. Just accept it. Alex is a perfect example of why we have to democratize education, because we have to teach people to be free. If you raise children up in a totalitarian dictatorship, which is what K through 12 education is, you're going to constantly have this problem of democracy sliding into, because that's sliding into fascism, because that's what they know. So they learned fascism in school, like they practiced it, and so they will continue to practice it. If you don't have something, at least civics classes, but that really doesn't do the thing. You have to practice democracy from day one, at least from the age of like 5, let's say. History shows freedom and justice will eventually prevail if some of us keep fighting for it. And you fascists will cower in shame and lie to your grandchildren that you were on the right side of history. Trump who? Never heard of him. Certainly never supported him. They're liars now, and they'll be liars then. I guess that's all I have to say today, guys. Thank you all for coming to my live stream. If you'd like to help me, I almost forgot. I have a website. And I am still working on these things. The best thing you could help with right now is helping our fiber drones. My Replace Starlink project is kind of on pause until I join my new unit and find out what I'm going to do. I hope to be able to continue this project just on a larger scale. But, I told them I'll do anything they want, ultimately. But I am working with Technology United for Ukraine to provide fiber drones to a unit that was up in Kursk, I believe, and they are actually, the fiber drones that I've already purchased in the base station are actively being used there already. So this is actually the donation is for 3D printer filament, but actually we're going to just use that money now to buy the whole fiber drone. So the fiber drones cost, oh man, the whole system, the base station plus one drone cost $3,600, guys. Okay. So I'm going to go and change this. The 3D printer filament is one piece because parts of it have to be built with, but we also have to buy the fiber optic spools. And so, this is just for building one piece of it. The whole drone is not just 3D printed. It's also carbon fiber. And anyway, so if you'd like to help, that's the best way you can help right now. Let's see. They exist, and you used to help your old farm friends in Ukraine. How are they doing on $300 a month in Ukraine Social Security? Yes, I am helping my old farm friends. I'm actually in the house right now, and I think I don't have that fundraiser on the page, but yeah, they're okay. They're doing all right. They exist. Thank you. And my dog. Fed my dog today. Didn't take him for a walk, but today, but I will tomorrow. Good old buddy. Anyway, so thank you very much, guys. I hope I get to see you again in another live stream. And Slava Ukraine. Do побачення.